Do what's right with all your might. Hey guys, it's me again, Douglas. And yeah, today I'm going to talk to you guys about the armor of God. And specifically, I want to talk to you about the breastplate of righteousness, the body armor of righteousness. Now, for a soldier, a breastplate is super, super important because most of your vital organs are protected by body armor, protected by the breastplate. You got your heart in there and your lungs and your stomach and all that good stuff. And so a soldier in battle needs to protect their vital organs. And so the breastplate of righteousness is a really, really important part of the armor of God. Now remember that we're not talking about actual real armor. You know, this is made of cardboard. A soldier back in the day might have had iron or steel or even bronze, but the armor of God is spiritual armor. So when we say the breastplate of righteousness, we mean that your righteousness can protect you like body armor. And righteousness is doing what is right. Now, as Christians, we're all in a battle, a spiritual battle, a battle against Satan and the spiritual forces of evil. And when you do what's right, you're protecting yourself against Satan's schemes, against the bad stuff that Satan has planned for you. You know, all sin comes with consequences, and there are eternal consequences and earthly consequences. And it's important to note that our righteousness cannot save us from the eternal consequences of sin. If you do what's right, that's not going to save you. And the eternal consequences of our sin is eternal death apart from God. And it's only through the blood and the sacrifice and the righteousness of Jesus Christ that we can be saved from the eternal consequences of our sins. And we'll talk about that later because it talks about the helmet of salvation, and that comes only through Jesus Christ. No amount of good works, no amount of your own righteousness can save you from the eternal consequences of your sin. But there are plenty of earthly consequences of sin also. And that's what our breastplate of righteousness protects us from. Satan knows that if we've been saved from our sins, that he cannot separate us from Jesus' love. But Satan can still mess with us here on earth. You know how I talked about earthly consequences of sin? Well, a consequence is something that happens because of something else. So, for example, if you're making cardboard armor and you're not being very careful, you can get a cardboard cut, which is like a paper cut, but 1,000,000 times worse. That's a consequence of not being careful. And all sin has consequences, earthly consequences here and now. Our sin can hurt us, and our sin can hurt those around us. And that's what Satan wants. Satan wants to hurt us however he can. So like drugs is a good example, because if you do drugs, you can be forgiven of the eternal consequences of that. God will forgive you if you ask for forgiveness. But it's still going to mess up your body, right? If you do drugs, you're still going to have to deal with the earthly consequences of doing drugs. They damage your body. They make it so you don't think straight, so you might do something really bad. And you might even get arrested and go to jail. But it's not just doing drugs. All sin, every single sin, has earthly consequences. If you gossip about somebody, you could really hurt their reputation, or you could really hurt their feelings, and you could hurt your relationship with them. If you steal, you're hurting the person that you stole from, and you could get in really big trouble. Every single sin has earthly consequences. And that's why Satan wants us to sin so badly, because he wants to hurt us. You know, God doesn't just make rules because he's trying to be bossy. The rules that God makes, he makes because he loves us and he knows what's best for us. And God knows that if we follow the rules and we do what's right, that our righteousness will act like body armor, and it'll protect us from Satan's schemes and from the negative earthly consequences of sin. So my challenge to you guys today is that you would put on the breastplate of righteousness, that you would follow the rules, that you would do what God has called you to do, so that you can stand and fight against Satan in the spiritual battle that we're all in. Doing what's right can't save you from the eternal consequences of sin, but it can sure protect you from the earthly consequences of sin, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Hey guys, I hope you liked this video. And hey, I just wanted to say a huge shout out, a huge thank you to all of my supporters on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I could not do this without you. And hey, I want to encourage everybody to check out the description of this video because I've got some links there to some of the favorite ministries of some of my patrons. And hey, if you would like to see your favorite ministry, you know, maybe your church or your favorite Christian organization listed in the description of some of my videos, check out patreon.com because that's one of the rewards for one of the tiers for my patrons. And as always, be sure to ask your parents' permission before you do anything online. Thank you guys so much for helping me to share the good news of Jesus Christ with kids all over the world. You are the best.